Welcome to Cooking with Kalina, and today we're going to be making collard greens. I want to show you a technique that I was taught very early on in my career and show you how we make collard greens. It's a real showstopper. Let's get to it. So here's a list or a picture of what you'll be needing to make these collard greens. So the first thing we want to do, we want to cut our mirepoix, and that's a fancy French term for onions, celery, and carrots. We're going to dice up the onions, and then we want to cut the carrots. This is how I like to dice them. As you can see, I cut them in kind of a manageable pieces. If I were to cut that carrot in its entirety, you're going to get some off cuts. So I try to cut them in half before I start the dice. And the reason I do that is it just gives me a little bit more stability. Same thing with the celery. I cut it in half like that. So I have these nice little manageable pieces. And that's going to help you get uniform cuts, which is really what you want when you make collard greens. So everything cooks uniformly. And so from here, we're going to go in with the collards. Collards tend to be a little dirty. As you can see, some of the dirt there, and we're going to address that here in a second. So what I like to do is basically pull the tender leaves off of that woody stem, and then I stack the collard greens on top of each other. And here I just make cuts. Now, you can cut collard greens however you like. You can fine julienne it. I know a lot of chefs out there that do that, as long as they are uniform. And that's what we are going for here. So after I get these collard greens all cut, we do have to wash them because, as you saw, they're a little dirty. And then strain them as best you can. You might have to work in batches. And so now we are ready to start cooking. But before we do, we want to get one of the major key players, and that's bacon. And so I like to dice the bacon. And so we are going to go into a cold pot and slowly bring that bacon up to what you see right here. We almost want to get it almost to burnt, because once we add in our mirepoix, you basically have halted any burning of the bacon. Now all of those brown bits you see in that pot, don't worry about that. They will be released when we deglaze. So we have some garlic that's going in there, and we want to cook that until it starts to perfume and open up its aromas and flavors. Crushed chili flakes. Some people like to use hot sauce. I don't. I like to use crushed chili flakes. I think it has a little bit more depth of flavor. So we're just going to keep cooking that through. And then from here, we have sherry wine and sherry vinegar. Do not use cream sherry. That would be disgusting. Going to add a little honey for sweetness. And here we want to reduce that down by at least half, if not by 3/4. Now we don't have any chicken stock for our liquid, which I strongly recommend. Homemade chicken stock, by the way. So we use some chicken base, which is perfectly fine. And again, we just want to keep reducing. And then from here, we're going to add the water. And we want to bring this up to a boil before we add the collards. We're going to add a little salt to season. You can add a little salt now, taste the collards at the very end, and always re-season. So we're just going to stir everything in. And then we're going to bring that up to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, slowly add your collards, little by little. And now we start the very long process of simmering/boiling the collards. And this is going to take around 45 minutes to about an hour and a half, depending on how aggressively you cook your collards. And the only way to know if the collards are ready is to do what I'm doing here. Taste them. And if they're tender, we are ready to move on to the next process, we're going to strain that pot liquor, and we have a lot of it. And I want to reduce that by half. So what you're doing is concentrating those flavors. So the next day, or you could do it that day of, take those collard greens, put them into a pan. This is what restaurants do. This is what I used to do in my career. And we're going to use that pot liquor and cook them all together. And what's going to happen is it's going to start to coat the collard greens. The taste is going to be very intense. And from here, we just go right into a serving vessel. Look at the carrot and bacon and everything. This is truly a delicious meal. A little taste test here. Delicious. I hope you enjoyed this video. We enjoyed making it for you. I hope you like and subscribe, share, and we will see you on the next video. Take care, everyone.